I'm Laura from Worditude and welcome to another Swipe File. Today I'm looking at the website of my friend Natalie Gisborne. She is an interior designer. She runs a membership for homeowners who want to flex and develop their interior design skills. And she also offers courses for people to design their own interiors, but also for interior designers. And the page we're looking at today is she's called it her work. She's called it her work with me page. You might call it your shop or your services page, and the URL actually just says /courses. So it's the page on your website where you lay out. Get the hang of my ClickPad, where you lay out all the different options that you have for people to buy from you. So these are all the ways that her customers can give Natalie money in exchange for something that they're going to want from her. And I'm going to draw your attention to a couple of features as we go through of things that work really well about the page. And then there's a couple of small suggestions in how it can be made even more effective. The first thing I wanted to say right at the top of the page is Natalie does a really good job on a couple of fronts. One is kind of managing expectations, that she's not there on her own delivering everything all of the time. Right from the beginning that there's a team involved that works with Natalie, and that's really relevant if you buy into the membership, and there's a whole team supporting her. And I get asked that quite a lot, like if it's not just me and my business, how do I position it so that they don't think that they're going to get 100% focus only from me, and they need to know that there's going to be some other team members that have contact with them. So just like a really gentle aside at the top of your services page is a good way around that. And then this sentence sets the scene, and it's packed with personality. It says, "Welcome to design school, sans the horrible fluorescent lighting. Hang out with me, the team, and your new design buddies to learn how to create and design dream homes step by step." So it gives you an overview of what to expect on this page, but it really sets the tone for how Natalie wants her whole business to feel, how it's quite friendly and relaxed and a bit playful and fun. Then as you scroll down through the page, I think there's 5. Let me have a quick. So this is important actually. Look at how I just scroll through quickly. That is how users will often look at this page. Is they'll have a very quick scroll through first to get a feel for the landscape of the page, to get a feel for what's coming. Before we invest in reading a whole web page, before we're prepared to invest that much time and energy, we'll often just skim through it to look for any clues that it's going to be worth our while. So often before someone even starts reading what the first thing is, they will have had a quick skim through and they'll notice that there are these 5 distinct offers. So what I wanted to point out here is numbering them 1 to 5 and having so much white space around them. There's these dividing lines between them, and also this distinct structure for every one of the offers, where there's a number, then there's a graphic, then next to it there's a headline, some text, and the button, and it's the same over and over again for every one of those 5. That makes it so much easier to navigate this page and for the reader to know where one offer finishes and the next one begins. Now, it might seem obvious. On this page, it's obvious that you need to have that distinct break, but often I'll see services or shop pages where it's the visual, the graphics on the page, the way that the page is laid out, means that the reader has to work really hard in reading the detail to figure out where does one offer end and where does the next one start, and also in figuring out the ways in which they're different. They've all got very different names, they've all got different graphics next to them, they're given different numbers, and each one of the buttons has got a different call to action. So that was the first thing I wanted to point out about this page, is what a great job Natalie does of making each of the 5 offers very distinct. Now, I'm not going to read them all out, but you can visit the page and see them for yourself. The other thing I wanted to point out is not only are they visually distinct, but the offers are actually completely different from each other. So another problem I come across on these services or shop pages is a range of services where there's only a very slight difference between each one. And when you put that out there, often you think you're doing the reader a favor, you're doing your website visitor a favor by making sure that everyone's needs are catered to, that there'll be something for everyone. But what actually happens is they get overwhelmed because they can't tell the difference between the offers that you've put in front of them. And so it's hard for them to know, to give like a definitive yes, if this is the one I want to find out more information about. So what I would suggest is, if you've got offers that are very similar, you group them together under one package name, one service name. And then you might mention on the sales page for that service that you have variations of the service, and that's something that you would discuss in a free discovery call. So then you can just get the email address off of the prospect and then figure out for them with their help in a kind of collaborative process which one of the variations is the best one for them. But what you present on the website is a much simpler grouping of offers. So you don't have these services where they're very similar together. You just have one service, and then the variations are discussed after you've got their email address. So yeah, each one of these 5 are quite different from each other, and it's very clear what you'll get out of, like, who it's for and what your goal is. Like, what is it that you're looking for, where this is the right answer for you. So this one is specifically if you want to get good at putting mood boards together, or you've heard this mood board thing, you've had a try it yourself and you want to be able to get better at it. This one here very clearly in bold says decode your interior design style in a weekend. So it's a very specific promise, and it's a very specific timeline, and it's something that people want to be able to do, and the call to action button matches what it says. This one is the signature, like the main program, and this will go through to a bigger sales page. And then so this brings me on to, that's the main features. I've covered the main features of what I love about this page, which is that they are visually distinct from each other. So yes, there are 5 services, which is quite a lot to choose from, but Natalie's done a great job of laying them out in the page in a way that makes them very visually distinct. So it's easy to see where one begins and the other one ends. Then they are actually different from each other. So they don't just look different, but when you read the text, it's much easier. It's easy for the reader to know whether that is something that they're interested in exploring about more, or they'd skip it. For example, down here on Home Envy Pro, it talks about careers in interior decorating. So for homeowners who would be good for the Home Envy Bootcamp would read this and they would know straight away, okay, no, that's fine. I don't need to find out more about that because that's not right for me. And then the third thing I wanted to point out was how well matched the call to action buttons are on to the heading. So each of the call to action buttons are different, but they relate to the product that they're selling, and they're very action focused, and they are kind of positive, affirmative, so it feels good to click them to say, yes, I want this thing. So those are the 3 ways in which I was really impressed by the page. And then there was just a couple of things that could be changed to make it work more effectively. And this was when I came to here. Number 4, smack in the middle of the 5 offers, is something that's for a different audience. This is for people who have careers in interior decorating. So to me, it would already make sense to move that one down to number 5. So swap number 4 and number 5 around, so that the first 4 are for one type of audience, and they're going from, then they do go from like least expensive to most expensive, like that as well, I think. Or for, the most in-depth offer is last, and the easiest quick win is at the top. And then I would move the one that's for professionals down to number 5. But also another reason to move that down is that one isn't ready yet. So it just says coming soon. And so whenever anybody gets to number 4, especially as early up the page, it doesn't say there are 5 ways. So they might get to 4 and think that's the end, because it says it's for professionals, so that would make me think, oh, okay, we've switched on to something different that's not relevant for me, and this one isn't released yet, it says coming soon. So it'd be very easy to get to number 4 and assume that's the end of the page and not realize that there's a number 5. So that's why I'd swap that over. I would also at the top mention that there are 5 offers. So instead of saying these are the ways that we can work together, or these are the I don't know how it's phrased up there, I would say there are 5 ways that we can work together, or I have 5 options for working with you, so that they already know there's 5, so that nobody stops at number 4. They know to keep going because there's another option to explore. And the other change I would make is it would be quick and easy to, the coming soon button at the moment doesn't go anywhere, and we could just turn that into a pop-up form so that we could start collecting people who are interested on going on the wait list. So that we don't lose them, because at the moment people who see this might just bounce away, and there's no obvious way of joining the email list right on this page, which there shouldn't be on a services page. That's kind of standard. But for these people where they can't take any positive action right now to say that they want in on this course, it would be useful for that button to be a pop-up form, and then they could just fill it in and we could follow up with them later. So that was an overview of a services /work with me /courses page with some features that that will work on, doesn't matter what you're selling, those 3 things that Natalie's doing well on this page, they would work for your services page too. Thanks for watching.